Hello, everyone. Welcome to our edition of the Ohio Guys here. My name is Christian Ocampo, and today I'm joined by another wonderful guest here today. We have Lisette Monique Diaz.
Hi.
Hi there. How you doing today?
Good, very good. Having fun, nice and simple little Wednesday here. Pretty chill in Texas. Literally very cold outside.
Well, good to hear you're doing well, especially that we're in the winter season now, almost
Mhm.
done with 2022 as we record this interview,
Oh, yeah.
going to 2023. So, a lot of things happening in the holidays and during this break. So hopefully everyone out there is getting ready for the remainder of the season.
Yes. Yep. Woo. New year.
So, Lisette, having you here for this interview, to kind of get things started, why don't you tell us what is it like working in the industry today?
Like a dream come true. um, Simply put, I actually was a fan like basically my entire life of if we're just going simply for anime. I've been going to conventions since I was a kid in like 2005. I've been watching anime since I was growing up. So getting to finally be a part of something I've been working for all these years has been really amazing. And then getting to like meet everybody that like, wow, you were this person and this character and da 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 has been really cool. But then going in with that professional mindset where like, I'm a huge fan of you, but you're my director right now. So okay, focus. So it's been really great. I've been wanting to be like a full-time performer for a very long time. I've been taking classes since for at least 10 years now, I think last time I calculated. So it's kind of this year's everything come together and finally getting to fulfill the dream that I've been working towards and getting to be a part of the industry, especially post COVID, all the craziness that's been happening, and then like jumping in when things are starting to get hot again with the anime industry.
Right on. And it's good you say that because in the last few years, since I've been doing interviews, getting to like different actors and your colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
almost this new wave of actors have been fans of anime and they finally were able to break into the industry. And especially you or everyone in this generation growing up hearing like the old school veterans who
Yeah.
started
Yeah,
they
I'm wearing my Cowboy Bebop Christmas shirt right now. Absolutely.
yeah and they doggy
So sorry.
okay. No, I was going to say that it's especially like the old school like the Steve Blooms, the Wendy D's, the
Hmm.
Bo Bingsleys. They they were like the first generation, so
Yeah.
they were not fans of anime because there was no anime kind before their time,
No,
or people to
absolutely.
look at to. And they knew the cartoon, like
Okay.
the Mel
Second now,
Blanks.
don't mind me. Get out there. Bye. Okay, sorry. Continue on.
Oh, that's good. I think people love dogs these days. So that little cameo appearance from your little doggo
Right,
there.
exactly. But
So
no,
yeah,
I agree. It's definitely one. And then like, of course, I've watched all those interviews with those exact same people that you're talking about. Like for example, Steve Bloom, where he had seen maybe one or two things growing up, but wasn't really into it. He fell into the industry because he knew someone. And so a lot of the like directors and voice actors of before, like that I get to work with, some of them now and some of them I've met maybe at conventions, kind of sort of thing that, we're fans of. A lot of them may have been traditional actors going towards one direction and then found their way into this because of a friend or hey, I needed this voice, this, and then they kind of just stuck with it. um, or it just happened. And nowadays it's now like, at least I don't know about you, whenever I was growing up, anime was kind of like a very hush hush, oh, if you're into anime, you're a weird kid and all this good stuff. Hot Topic was like the secret store you couldn't go into, and if you did, you were like the weird person in school no one wanted to talk to. But now, like, at least when I was in high school and there was like this transition of everybody was getting into anime. All of a sudden, all the like celebrities, football stars, and everybody were just like, oh yeah, I like Dragon Ball Z. And suddenly it was okay for other people to say that they liked anime too. And so now we're in this phase of, if you don't like anime, who are you really? Because everybody watches at least something or has heard of something or knows someone that does. While we're also, as speaking of the industry too, in that part of this industry where there's a lot of fans that are like, oh yeah, I can be a voice actor. And like, but there's a difference between wanting to do it for fun and then wanting to actually pursue it for a life career kind of sort of thing. And at least the ones before it, again, going back to just like Steve Bloom, Wendy, and all those people that you said, they were actors who fell into the industry at least. So there's a lot of people coming in too that are just starting in like, I want to do anime. How do I do anime? Well, you have to be an actor first and foremost. Like, I went to theater, like I was a theater major in college and everything, and I've had talks with my work kiddos, what I say, because I used to work at theme parks, and I would train the younger people to be costume characters, and they would ask me about it. And that was the thing, I would have to talk to them and was like, oh yeah, and after a couple of years of taking classes, like, what do you mean years? Yeah, you have to learn how to act and do the thing, rather than like, I can make a cool voice, I can be a voice actor, that's great. So it is really cool to have been a fan too, and getting to see the transition of like, from anime being a hush hush, like on the edge of the world, to now it's everywhere, like literally everywhere. You go into any store or any mall and it's in every single vendor's store somehow, some way.
Yeah, just a lot to unpack right there. You've hit the nail on the head when it comes to anime nowadays, where it is more prevalent than it was back in the 2000s, where it has grown significantly. The fan base has grown bigger, more merchandise, more celebrity appeal to it. And me being a big wrestling fan, I've seen professional wrestlers try to pay homage to the favorite shows or the favorite characters, where they would try like dress up. I'll give you an example. Rhea Ripley, one of the new top rising female wrestlers, her first ever WrestleMania, she wore an inspired Saiyan armor of Vegeta.
That's so cool.
It is in a way to kind of like make a grandiose appearance on the showcase of the Immortals, stepping into the ring, having her first title match against Sheriff Flair. So that was just an amazing way to kind of show a rise of anime and the appreciation towards it. So you are seeing more of that, more homages, honors, respects to the medium as a whole. And I know we're going to keep seeing more of that in the future. And 10 years has been a big difference, and who knows what another 10 years will look like for anime and for the fandom as we go through the 20s, and we'll see what happens in the 2030s. So that's going to be very interesting.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, just so much we can talk about there. So I'm hoping that we'll keep seeing these trends, these kind of waves, and there's more these spikes. So yeah,
me too. Hopefully, it's good for the industry in general, and it helps to make it so that the companies are able to bring more to us. Like, obviously we're in America, but anime is all over the world, and so like when it wasn't as popular, only certain shows that were the mainstream shows were able to make it worldwide. So that's why everybody knows Dragon Ball Z or Cowboy Bebop or Pokemon and stuff, because those are the most popular ones that everybody wanted to see. But now that it is more popular, people are actually watching all the different obscure genres of things, that it's easier to, of course, technology obviously helps, but like it's easier to get hundreds of shows from Japan across the world to their dubbing location so that the fans can watch all the things rather than only what's on TV or only the mainstream ones. Like, just because, let's say I love My Hero Academia, but not everybody loves shonen fighting boy anime. Like, what if you want to watch a shoujo or some cosplay episode or sports anime that's not as popular, or even so like the shows that I've been in so far are more of the obscure shows that aren't as popular in America but are popular in Japan. But if it wasn't as big of an industry as it is now, or as more easily accessible as it is now, we wouldn't even have access to those, like, in general.
And we can thank streaming services for at least helping kind of bring more accessibility to the fandom, especially, as you said, there's different shows out there. And me being kind of old school, I do have a big collection of animes where I just buy the DVDs, Blu-ray sets, boards, which not everyone can do. Not everyone has the extra bucks for that. So the streaming service can help bring like more a bigger library for the fans, a bigger catalog, so they can access it for a good price, whether it be $7.99, $10.99, or $15.99, whatever the price might be for that streaming service. At least they know they can see a shows from beginning to end.
Right.
So that has been a big key factor in just getting accessibility to the markets.
Absolutely. That's where binge watching culture came into play.
It sure did. So yeah, and from here on out, we're going to keep seeing more shows added onto these streaming services. So so yeah, to kind of transition us from all that. So you being kind of new in the industry and you've been breaking out this whole past year, why don't you tell us, what is your favorite show you got to work on?
I mean, I love all the shows, especially like getting the opportunity just to be in the booth. I'm constantly like checking my emails, like, do you need me today? No? Okay. I'll just be over here. Let me know if you need me. So like just getting to go in the booth is always a blast, no matter what it is. But an easy answer for me would have to be Jahy. Like, that was my full length show, my first lead, a character that was like true and dear to my heart because she's literally me. So easy answer, great Jahy.
I love that show, and it's one we're going to definitely type out soon. But just to kind of like touch upon basic, just loving the little cute character you're playing. So very, very happy that you got to be part of that show.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
So to kind of start with one of the shows that's on Garrick with Crunchyroll, this show is called Smile of the Arsnotoria. If I didn't butcher that, while I was like cooking on that show.
That's right. I really thought that was a really cool show, actually. Never played the game, didn't know anything about it. I mean, that's the really cool part too, is that like as an actor, I really like getting called in and not really knowing what you're gonna do for the day. Because sometimes you'll be told what character you're doing. You're usually told maybe the director you're working with or the show that you're going into. So you could always do the research or like watch the episode beforehand. But then with that one specifically, it was a video game, apparently, first. I never played it. But the art and animation was so pretty. And I did watch the entire thing, and the story still very much confuses me. I don't really understand what's happening. It's very much left open to, there should be a season 2 to continue with whatever happens in the video game. And that's what the director, Emily Fajardo, said as well, that she was specifically casting every single character as if they're going to appear later on. So hopefully there's more seasons to come, because the series personally didn't make any sense to me, story-wise. But I really liked her. The character's name was Yetzi Sefer. And she was really cute little girl, green hair and glasses, always questioning everything is apparently what she's about. I looked her up in before I did go in there, I did look her up as like the bio for the video game. But she only had like maybe 3 lines the entire series, while some other characters kept coming in and out. And for anyone who's never seen the show, it's about a group of girls going to a magical little school thing and weird little adventures every single day. Warning now, there's not really much of a story plot throughout the entire arc of the series, but all throughout the series there's so many characters, and so it's really cool whenever it was coming out week to week to week, getting to see like on Twitter everybody announcing is like, hey, I was in this episode, hey, I was in this episode, because it has a huge cast of female voice actors, and I got to be a part of that. So it was really cool because you have the veterans and then you have a lot of new talent coming in at the same time too. So getting to be a part of that as well has been really cool. And looking at the video game, my character does seem to come back at some point. So she should be in a season 2. But she was one character too that I did realize after I heard the second time I was in an episode that because of how I brought her up, I didn't recognize my voice the first time it played through, and I had to rewind it because I saw the scene and then I walked away because I was like cleaning or something, and I came back, it's like, wait a minute, did I just get recast? Wait, no, that is me. But the hard part about doing a character that has so few lines is not having the time to develop that voice or that character. And so I only went in maybe 2 or 3 times to record for her. No, 2 times to record for her, and another time in the same show I played a little fairy thing. But like going in the second time, it was okay, read the line, okay, great, bye. And so it was more of, but wait, what was my voice, how am I supposed to sound? And that's like the whole actor part of the brain that you just have to kind of do it on the fly and just figure it out and remember and do a good job, and hopefully it's a good enough job that it gets accepted by the director at the end of the day. But I'm hoping that she comes back, and she was really cute. I'd love to get to play more into that world because I'm still very curious of what's happening. Like, and that's the thing too, being a voice actor in anime as a fan, is that you become a fan of the show. Is like, even though I want to be in all the shows, sure, of course, great, but at the end of the day, I'm going to watch all the shows because I enjoy watching anime. And so even though, let's say my character was only in 2 episodes with maybe 2 lines, I watched the entire series, and now I'm curious and ready for a season 2 already, even though it just ended.
I'll say this because I was really surprised watching it because I knew nothing about it. I knew it had a dub. I knew it had to do with magic. So just seeing the show, you see all these cute girls. They get into their little hijinks, these little these little mischief moments. And it's just cute in itself, just seeing how they interact with each other, the way they talk, especially with their etiquette, the tea times they always had, or tea parties, I should say.
Yeah.
So it's just wholesome just watching these students, the way they have their school life and just during magic. And then, of course, you think it's all cute, then you get like certain scenes where there's like this dark moment where it throws you off. It throws you off like, wait a minute, I thought it was going to be a wholesome show, but then you see these certain moments, these certain scenes where like, oh, okay, now this dark mojo is somehow playing an intricate part in this whole show. So then you have to like,
and I think it was episode 1 too, where everything's happening normal, great, and then it's like cuts, like it's over, and then all of a sudden they even in those scenes they change the way the viewpoint is, like for the camera, let's say, and it's like a fight scene in Fire. And I just remember sitting up in that part, I was like, am I watching the same show right now? I'm so confused of what's happening. I think I rewound it just to make sure, like, you know, because if you're watching Crunchyroll, it automatically plays something else, whatever. I was like, did I go somewhere else? No? Oh, okay. And that's more of the part that really confused me throughout the story too, was more of, those are 2 completely different stories. And every now and then you hear them talk about each other, sort of, but I don't get it. I don't get it at all, really.
Overall, it's a cute show. That's why I
Yeah.
say, like, yeah, it's confusing, but you can't help by watching these girls do cute things in their cute ways, in
Yep.
their own cute methods.
Oh,
So
absolutely. It's easy to get sucked into a school anime with magic girls. Done.
yeah, it's easy. So if anyone hasn't seen it, you just have to try it, just understand how cute it is, and then why it can be confusing at times because it's its own different style of writing.
It's apparently very popular in Japan, at least the video game. I don't know about the anime. That's why it was highly anticipated when it was coming to anime version. So, like, we'll see.
I got see suspicion they'll get one. I think most shows are getting seasons, so
I agree.
I've my expectations are high on that one, so it'll come out.
I agree. I agree.
All right, so here's another show that really has captivated audiences in a whole different light, especially with its genre, its storytelling, and this one is Remake Our Lives. What's up picking on that show?
I'm sitting. I love your little intros. I was like, wait, which one is he going to talk about? That one was really fun to do. I was actually in the middle of doing The Great Jahy whenever it was coming out, and that's the thing. Like, as a kid, I watched a lot of anime. As an adult, because I'm busy being an adult, I don't watch as much anime because I don't have as much free time. So a lot of anime that, at least in the past few months, that I've watched on recommendation from other people that are in it. So like I have friends and they're making an announcement. They say it's great, so let me watch it. Or they're because I'm in it and I'm trying to do the research for it and trying to build up to that point. So with that one, it was really cool because the director was Natalie Rose Hoover, who played the boss in The Great Jahy Will Not Be Defeated. And she called me in to be this little character and everything like that. And I just got really excited because literally, I think the day before I got that email, the director, Jonathan Rigg for Jahy, was talking to me like, have you met Natalie? I'm like, no. I was like, well, you should. And then 2 days later, I was in her studio. So it was really cool. But going into that process, luckily for me, all the episodes were already out on Crunchy in Japanese. So I got to do my research and I watched the entire thing. And then I got to that I think I watched like that episode. I was like, oh, she's such a cute little girl. And then I ended up watching the entire series. And then I ended up binge watching the rest of it because it's just such a good show. And I watched it all in Japanese. And then as it was coming out, I was watching it all in English as well. It's just, but it was so good, and I know it hit me close, and I'm sure a lot of like other artists because it has to do with the industry of animation and television and film and stuff like that. So that's why, like, I just think near the middle end, I was crying. Like, I feel it, I get it, but getting to play, especially going in from Gremlin Jahy voice to I have to be a normal little girl over here was a fun transition. And again, whenever I would watch that episode back, or I actually played it for like my family at home, they didn't believe that that was me. That's obviously not a voice that I talk normally. And so the fact that it was this little girl who was super cute, that's not her voice. But the fact that that was a different voice that I had inside of me, it was one of those where trying to go into the booth and not have too much in my brain, just see the line, see the scene, and just do it rather than too much preparation to mess me up. And that was the voice that came out, and I was surprised with that. And she loved it. It was great. It was really awesome to play a super cute little girl. I'm learning through meeting a lot of people that are newer in the industry or have been doing it a little bit now. Voice actor wise, that everyone wants to play a little girl at some point, like a cute little girl who's just there to be cute. And I got to do that very early on in my career. And I feel like I've gotten the whole gambit of character archetypes in just a few months. So it's been really fun. But like being a part of, I think that one is, I think you said it too, like it is a very popular show in Japan. I think it's way more popular in than America. but like the story itself was amazing, and then to also be alongside the cast was amazing. Like the fact that Jerry Joel played my father, I was like, ah, but because I'm a huge fan of Jerry Joel, and so getting to like, we were scene partners was awesome. Like that's my dad, yay! But I love Maki. Apparently in the manga, according to Natalie, there's a whole side story that she has if there's a possible side or season 2 that, well, I mean, it ended very open-ended, so there should be a season 2, but apparently there is a side story where Maki does come back and she's grown up, and she told me, I was like, well, if it ever comes to America, you'll be doing that too. Like, thank you so much, Natalie. But Natalie was great. She's such a sweet, sweet person. She plays Tomoyo in Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card, and being in the booth and getting to work with her was amazing. She is fluent in Japanese, so every time that we would be having problems with something, we were trying to make sure that she stayed like very young girl. I think she's supposed to be like 4 years old, and there were some times that she would say a word and then all of a sudden she'd be like, she wouldn't say that, and so she would just switch it right there, look at the Japanese, and then like translate her on her own to make a different version to make her sound more like a child rather than an American child kind of thing. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But it was really cool to get to work with her, and even in the booth I would go in sometimes for just like a 15-minute session because she had maybe 1 or 2 lines, but we'd be there for like 30 minutes just nerding out because she's same as us, where she's a huge fan of anime, grew up watching this, that, this, and everything. And so we would just sit around and talk about the manga we collect and this and that. So it was really cool. A really great experience in general. And that one I know is supposed to be coming for a season in the future, at least per Japan. So I think it'd be great to pick up. Honestly, I just want to watch the show. I don't care if Maki comes back. It's just a really good show. I want to see the next part of it.
And I had the experience of it myself. I first watched it in Japanese because I did not think it was going to get in English dub. And it was like around like 2021, 2020. Yeah. But then of course it got as English dub, which again surprised me because I thought it was too slice of life-ish in a way where it might come across as boring.
Yeah.
But the story was very, again, captivating because people or the audience can relate themselves to these characters, especially with burnout culture, especially with college anxiety when it comes to I guess employment, where all these things come together, which I think the audience has had one or all 3 of these experiences in their life, where the atmosphere kind of, you feel the weight of these characters, what they're going through. You feel the exhaustion. You feel the self-doubt. You feel everything because it hits so many marks where the audience are like, wow, like this, I've heard the story before. Like I felt this happen to me. I can definitely understand what they're all going through because it's lousy. Like these are positions no one wants to be in, but yet you're watching these characters go through these obstacles and you can't help but root for them. It's like, you know what? I may not have had a good experience. I may not be where they're at, but I'm hoping that they will somehow climb out of that hole, out of that bottomless pit, and make it out. So you do have a sense of cheering for these characters to get out of that rut that they're in.
Oh, I think that's
absolutely. I think that's what made it better.
No, and not only that too, it's the idea of that, like you were saying, like the burnout culture, the making the decisions in college and everything, like we've all been there, and we've all always made those parts of our lives where like, what if I could go back? How could I change things? And I've been told that I was explaining this again, like this is a show that everybody could get into, honestly, because it is very monotonous. And so there have been 1 or 2 people I've recommended it to, and I think they would really like it. And they've told me that there's similar shows to that extent, where it's like, oh, I'm having a midlife crisis and I want to go back in time, and they do. But like, that's such an easy track to get our story to get on, because we've all been there. We've always thought, like, what would life be like if I made the right turn instead of left turn, kind of sort of thing. And this explores that. And I really liked how it not only explored it, like, spoiler alert, but at the end, he goes back again. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, there's a whole different twist to the twist, which I wasn't expecting, because usually whenever you watch a show or a movie like this, if you're doing a time travel thing like that, you just get the one chance. You don't get to do a redo of the redo, kind of thing. So it's really interesting to see and wonder where we're gonna go. And I remember after watching it in Japanese, I was tempted to, like, find the manga. Where can I watch this? Because I want to know where it's going, but I don't want to get spoiled. So I was like, I'll wait. I'll wait for it. I know there's going to have to be a season 2, so I'll just wait.
Yeah, it's everything we've said. There's just, again, a relatability towards it. There's always that mindset where people hope to hit the restart button if they have the opportunity. Even if it's just a one-time deal,
Yeah.
people will take it and run the course, trying to carefully plan every decision, because if they know this, like, their one shot, they only have one bullet in the chamber. So I think everything just makes them very more suspenseful, because you want to make sure, okay, even if they're doing something small, you're like, okay, are you sure you want to go this one? Because usually we both know that you only get only one shot of each decision, so everything just means something. Everything is weighed in carefully.
Yep, absolutely. Such a good show. Such a good one.
Yeah, and that's also for season 2, because there is just so more meat in the matter on where it's going to go and how far the story and this whole time travel aspect is going to play a part in their lives, because it's one of those moments where you want to know, how is it going to end, how is it going to conclude, is it going to be is a payoff going to be worth it? I think that's the tricky part. Will it be all worth, or will it be another flop of an ending? So which
it's literally like playing an Otome game. It's like good ending, great ending, or bad ending. You never know.
Yes, so we'll see, and hopefully we'll get some news sooner or later.
Hopefully.
All right, here's another show, one that I've really enjoyed, and I'm always a sucker for this genre of isekais and MMORPGs. And we're going to be talking about Scan Tonight in Another World. What was like working on that one?
That one is definitely going to be a special one to me, because that was my second time in the studio ever. And I ended up inside playing my very first named character, very first reoccurring character. And that was one thing. It was really cool too, because Jason Lord was the director of that. And we went in for a Walla session with Crunchyroll. So for anyone who doesn't know what Walla is, those are the background actors. Usually go in groups of 4. And we're usually the people in the crowd, or the screaming victims, or this, that, this. That's just kind of like talking and muttering in the background. We flesh out all the scenes. That was my very first ever session with Crunchy, doing anime in general, on one of his other shows called The Greatest Demon Lord Will Be Reborn as a Typical Nobody, or something like that. Super, super long title. Different kind of isekai, but not, I don't know. Went in for that, read a single bit line, and then the next day got an email asking to come in the next week to read for a different character. And that was the whole thing, especially because I was so new to the industry. I was like, no, okay. And we went in, and it was kind of one of those like, oh, I got a character. Oh, she actually shows up. She has a name. She's this, she's that. Okay, great. And like, even now rewatching back to it, I'm super proud of her, like the character that I was able to make, and the fact that I was able to play that And I think I was showing someone, because someone was talking to me just the other day about it. And just rewatching those clips, I actually just finished the season like last week. So I finally have seen the entire series of Skeleton Knight. But there's just so many elements to being an anime dubbing voice actor that I've learned now, months later, that back then I had no idea. And I'm sitting here looking at her lip flaps and seeing her do these motions and like hearing the way I'm talking. I'm sitting here like, dang, I did a good job. But like, I'm just really proud of her. And the fact that that was literally week 2 of me doing professional voice actor for being a professional voice actor for anime specifically. And I'm like, that one, I'm good. I'm proud of. She can be on a high pedestal there. The show in general, hilarious, and definitely something every single gamer has always wanted. Of course, like I grew up on like dot hack series and I love SAO and all those things. So anytime there's the idea of being trapped in a video game, yes, please. It's like I would love to do that. And I like that we get to see the main character, Ark, who is a total nerd, and having those side moments of him where he's like, I am the strong skeleton knight, Ark. And then he's like, oh my God, that was so cool. And like, I think those are really funny that you get to see throughout the series and everything. And getting to play amongst such a big cast as well. Like my sister is literally Caitlin Glass in the show. And so I remember going in to record and I heard her voice and I was like, ooh, okay, I have to do a good job because I'm with Caitlin Glass in this scene. Okay, great, got it. And then getting called back later because she comes back for like a small scene, that like it was really a moment that I noticed or realized that, oh, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually a voice actor and I'm getting to come back and play these characters over and over again. And I do know for a fact that she comes back in the manga later on for several arcs. And so I'm sitting here, it's like, bring back that season 2, season 3 of Skeleton Knight. I am ready. Like, I feel like I've grown so much as an actor from then that I'm more prepared to play her because she is a more rambunctious, loud, boisterous character that I've learned that I'm way better at than like in the second time you see her, she's more serious, just talking. And those are the parts that I struggle with. But I think that after several months of working on myself and getting to play other characters and getting to develop myself as an actor, I'm more prepared to do this now that we're farther along in my career, at least a few months farther along. But it was such a fun show, and I know a lot of people really enjoyed it. And it was left open-ended too. I know there's a lot of manga left too. Not a lot. I think I have the first volume when I was looking up. I think they're on like volume like 10 or something, but the anime only went to like volume 3. So like there's plenty of product that they can make those series come back through. So we'll see. It's left open, very much open. But sometimes, you know, a show that is popular can either come back real quick or they can milk it and not come back for a couple years. All right, either or.
I love this show, especially as the name title suggests. You got the Skeleton Knight, who really is charismatic, has a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
I just enjoy the main character because it's like a balance between his charm, his level of excitement. It kind of reminds me of Macho Man Randy Savage at times, like just of how rambunctious he can get at times. Yeah. But knows how to switch it up when he needs to get into action night mode. They know he's in for business. And again, with all the characters around him, everyone like has a fun little contribution to the adventures, to the storyline. Yeah. It's a fun little world just seeing that pseudo medieval world, and then seeing like the other villages from like the elves and from the animal people, like just a whole collaboration mishmash of of this world in the Scantonite. So
Yeah.
everything just comes together nicely. And again, going back to video games, you you really have that familiarity. You really know what to
Oh,
expect when going into this
exactly.
setting. But again, it has its own little twist. It's got its own dilemmas, obstacles to overcome. So you know you're getting something a little different than other shows that take place in like the medieval times. Because
Yeah,
every
it's definitely too where like obviously the main character is always the perspective of the audience, and if you're a fan watching this show, you're a fan of that genre of video game, most likely fantasy video game. So you wish you were in his spot as well. And so, like you said, like these things, the elves, the creatures and all this stuff. So you're getting to nerd out with him along the way. But then there is that realism of this isn't just a video game that he's in, it's these people's real life world. So you are getting to see the problems and the actual like racism between like humans and elves and beast people, and like he's getting to experience that and actually very much grounding the series rather than, let's say, like I really enjoyed Bullfooty, which is coming for a season 2, and I'm really excited for that. But it's the same idea where you're going into the video game and you're having fun playing and doing all these adventures, but it's just cute fun adventures. There's no real serious tone to it at all, while in Skeleton Knight they start off very hard with the opening scene, and then from then on you get all the different parts of excitement, fun, monster battles, and then like but there's something happening in the kingdom, there's politics, there's this. It's like it's really cool because it's not only the nerd inside you, you're getting drawn into the world and into the story itself along with the main character arc.
and I think there's also a sense of okay, there's conflict. How are we going to handle this conflict? Like, are we going to just OP through it, or we're going to be more sneaky, or we're going to be more diplomatic? I think it's always that kind of anticipation. All right,
Yeah.
we know how to do it in these different ways, but let's see which one we're going to do it. Just maybe to mix it up a little bit, or say, you know what, I could usually do the same way, but what if we try it this way instead? Just make it a little more interesting, just to spice things up a bit. There's always that kind of viewpoint from the audience, like, okay, where do we go from here? Like, there's just so many options. Not to say one is wrong or which one is the right choice, but which one is going to kind of make the whole series stand out, especially when you have a character who's a Scanton. That's going to be the more interesting part. That's going to be a very huge key component on getting from A to B to C and to D.
Yeah, especially like not only that, it's one of like 20,001 isekai airing currently in the world right now. I remember because the first Walla session was that like something reborn, the greatest demon learners reborn, whatever. But there's like so many isekai right now and so many reverse isekai right now. There has to be something each one of them has that makes this one stand out more and more. And amongst all of those, Skeleton Knight was the one that was kind of higher on the charts week to week because it was a good mix of all the things the fans were wanting, especially with so many shows that are like it happening at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that's what made it stand out even more. Just in a way, kind of knowing what to give the fans, and at the same time, not having like a same repeat from what other protagonists from other isekais have done. This try and do something a little different, just so it can at least stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah.
I think that's what made it also stay in the rankings that high up, because that was a bit surprising knowing what the genre was. But I think it did help just knowing that this is not a regular standard protagonist. This is one who happens to be a Scanton, and that has a whole different parameters than ones that are not Scantons. So
Yeah,
made a big difference.
I agree. I know a lot of people are really big fans of that one too. I was actually flying back from California, and we had this delay on the flight and everything, and I made friends with the two guys that were sitting next to me, and we were just like, hey, are you on Instagram? Yeah, sure. And so we were sharing our information, and the guy sitting directly next to me was like, oh, do you watch that show? Because I have like my pinned post, one of them is her, because my character announcements. And I just kind of was like, oh, well, I voice her in the anime. And all of a sudden, it kind of changed the entire conversation. He was like, I love that show. Oh my gosh. And that was the thing, because to me, you know, being in it, you don't really see more than the mainstream ones. So, like, obviously, everybody knows My Hero, Chainsaw Man, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon. You know, everybody knows these ones. And seeing someone that knows Skeleton Knight in Another World, which I would think is more of an obscure style of anime, that unless you are an anime fan, you're not going to find it typically. And he knew exactly what it was. He knew the character, and he was like, wait a minute, you're a voice actor? I was like, yeah. But it was way more popular than I was expecting it to be, which I think is really cool and really great for it too, especially since in this world of light novels are coming in now and becoming way more popular than like a regular manga series that we've seen throughout all the years in the past. And to come out with all these other shows in 2022, I was about to say 23, we're not there yet, in 2022, and still be so well known is like, I think that's really great for Skeleton Knight in general. And I'm ready for a season 2, season 3, because I know there's plenty of story left to be told.
And again, another example of a show that could get like a season 2, maybe a 3, potentially 4, because again, there is a core storyline that they have about. Not to spoil anything here, but that story part will probably be told like towards the end, just based upon the overarching storylines that's really happening in Skeleton Knight.
Overarching, because his name is Arc.
Okay, that was brilliant. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So to continue on the path of isekai, here's another one we gotta talk about, and this one is Parallel World Pharmacy. Well, I was like working on that show.
Another isekai. That was one I did. I was really surprised and excited for, again, specifically coming in as a fan and getting the email saying that you're coming in at this time, to work on this show with Jerry Jewell. And I was like, I don't know what this show is, but I know who Jerry Jewell is. And I had never worked with him before. And he is my favorite voice actor. So it was kind of one of those like, okay. All right, great. I had no idea, because I was in 2 different episodes, where the first one, it was just, I think, maybe a 15-minute session where I read for one villager in the scene, and that was it. Then I left. And that was one of those, like, if anyone ever meets or gets to work with Jerry Jewell, he's very much like, I'm here, I'm working, not too much expression or emotions. Great, cool. And so I left like, he hates me. I'm never going to work with him again. This is it for me. It's great. Cool. And then just a couple days later, I was asked to go in to read for Marie, who is the little girl. And I was like, oh my God, I'm still in it. It's fine. And I went in twice for her because she was in the preview of one episode and then in the other episode. But even then, she was sick most of the time. So what was funny about that was going in for these super short sessions and realizing and kind of still learning the industry in general, and knowing that, like, oh, I can go in and do a 15-minute session, a 5-minute session. How weird is that? And you're still going to get paid. I was like, that's cool. You get paid, you get the credit, you get to be in the show. It's awesome. But I know the first time that I went in for her, she was just sick. And all we did, he looked, because with that one, unlike the other shows that I had been, at least, where we already had the Japanese all coming through, he was getting them week to week to week. So he hadn't been able to watch the series ahead of time like other directors could. And so he had no idea which characters are coming in and coming back, kind of sort of thing, because he didn't have the resources. And so going in at the preview of that end of the episode where she's just breathing, great. All right, we're done. And then we get to leave. And then the next episode, again, 90% of it, I was breathing. And then I had like 2 lines. But it was really fun to just sit there. It's like, we're breathing. And we're still breathing. And guess what? More sick breathing. Got it. But it was really fun just to work on it. I watched the show leading up to it because I wanted to do the research for it. Really enjoyed the show. And even without the character being there, I finished that whole thing in Japanese before it was coming out in the English dub because it was coming out at the same time-ish. So I really enjoyed the show. And I do not think there's going to be any more, even though I wish there was going to be more of the series, just be how it ended. But I thought it was a really great style of isekai. And again, researching, there's more like it. I really like the aspects of him being in this new world. Of course, he died and somehow he came into this world. But I always mess up this word, a pharmaceutist, where he's really smart. And of course, he's OP and has all these powers and can do this and everything. And all of a sudden, he's basically seen as a god. But he's trying to just help people. And he's this child and an adult in a child's body. But it's really smart. And you get to hear him figuring out the components, the chemical makeup of these certain products in order to help people. And then at the end, spoiler alert, they have to deal with the plague when we just did COVID. And I was like, ooh, all of us know this feeling very well. But it was really cool to get to be in that world, even if it was a small little character. Again, getting to play a little girl. And I do know for that one, and more of a learning experience for me, where it's a job, don't fan out. Where I went in with Jerry Joel, do a good job, do a good job. And then I was like, I think he hates me. And I would get called in. It's doing a good job. And I still think he hates me. So it's going to be this cycle whirlwind of every time I go in with someone that I am a huge fan of. I'm be like, it's job, do a good job, and then leave and let it be done. Because at the end of the day, if they don't like you, they're just going to recast you. And I didn't get recast. Therefore, I guess I'm okay.
This show I also enjoy myself. Again, going back to the isekai genre,
Yeah.
Even though we've seen the first 5 years was either more action based, more sword fighting type of style, this one was more of a pharmaceutical, trying to help out those. So instead of just fighting monsters, you're fighting germs and viruses and diseases. A different though take on the isekai genre, where there's more you can do going to another world instead of just fighting enemies and these type of beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Fight something else that's more like an everyday life, everyday occurrences. And I think that's also what made it special and stand out. And I think it was perfect timing in itself that touch upon the plague, as you mentioned, after coming out from COVID. So again, a bit of relatability towards it. Where we know how these pandemics work, operate, what that means for us humans when something this big causes an outbreak in the population. Mm-hmm. So everything coming together and putting a whole story together where the audience is captivating to see, how is this person going to deal with this disease, this virus, this illness, sickness, with medieval technology, with what they have little that they don't have now, but trying to be more innovative, trying to put hundreds of years of human science and all crammed into a bundle in just one time era, this period of the Middle Ages, or coming out of the Middle Ages, to better serve humanity in this parallel world.
Yeah, I think it was really cool too because it wasn't as popular as everything else that was coming out throughout the summer. And I really enjoyed it. People that were watching it really enjoyed it. But again, not as many people were watching it. But it also, like you said, it was different from all the other isekai that we've seen before because it was so deep into the realism. Because when you go into a typical isekai, you are in the fantasy world, you're fighting the monsters, or even then you get to see the world for what it is. You don't really get to think about like, but there's villages and there's people that are living and having real lives in this world as well. And what are they doing? And so you get to see Pharma and the kingdom and everything dealing with those real life issues that even if you're not an isekai, we're dealing like real life issues, real life. Because people get sick, people are dealing with debt and work and stuff. Like the episode that my character was in, it was about her father who's dealing with his like debt, and he wants to just fulfill his dream of helping people that are low class and everything, but he can't because of his job. Like that's just like the most basic American problem like you can have. And I just remember like watching the scene where she like just tells him like you can do it and everything, and he's crying and I'm watching it and I'm crying. I was like, I feel this so much. But like it's true, that is like, even though it's magical, he's using all this like stuff to create the medicines. Like it's very realistic in the sense that like in its basic core, it's a guy dealing with the world's sicknesses, and that's in every universe that we have. So like we can relate to that even though we're not in this world, we're not in this time period. Even like we know what it means to be sick, we know what it means to deal with the plague. So like getting to actually experience that too, and I think why it stood out for me at least, especially amongst the world of a million isekai, like I've already said.
And again, just going back to familiarity, like you said, like that story in itself. How many times have we heard that? How many times have we maybe come across it on the news? How many maybe like GoFundMe's have we seen where parents have sick children? It's those things where it's like, oh man, like this is so common where it goes into these stories, these make believe stories where how can parents overcome their children's sickness when they are in a certain position that they have a hard time getting out, where they want to prioritize their child's health, but there are certain obstacles that are in the way that's preventing them from fulfilling that. So it's again more human based stories where no matter what genre it might be, no matter what word might be, we hear it far too often, and it does in a way kind of have our minds bring us back to reality when watching these animes.
Yeah. And hey, even if anything, at the very end, last episode, we went straight on full isekai, and it was a full like magic battle. So we brought it back.
We sure did, and I think it wrapped up nicely. I think it told a simple story from beginning, middle, end. Does it really need another season? Not really. Would they hurt it? Not really. So it can go either way. If they want to make another one, I think again they've told a story that they want to bring in this world of limited medicine, limited pharmacy, into this time period where maybe they can do more stuff with it. Maybe they can expand more. But again, as the story focuses on this part, this region of the world, I think it did a great job for what it was trying to convey to the audience here.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, and to kind of finish up shows that you have done, here's one that just had its last episode not too long ago, and this one is one of your favorites. The great Jahy will not be defeated. while it's
Yeah,
like working on that show.
The Great Jahy. Oh, it's an okay show. I guess it's fine. No, it was great. Like such an experience. Like with that one too. Again, I was still so new in the industry. It was in my second month technically since like having my very first session. That when I got the email, I thought it was a mistake. Like I literally did not believe that I got cast as a lead character. It was impossible for me to think that. And so I got the email from the talent coordinator saying that Jonathan Rigg would like to cast you in the show The Great Jahy Will Not Be Defeated as the Great Jahy. And then I like talked more about it. And I remember just like stopping there because I had taken a nap, which I normally don't do either. And I was reading my email, like, still waking up. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? And I had to like reread it a couple times. And I sat there, I was like, I don't think this is right. No, it can't be. And so I didn't tell anybody until I had my first session like 2 days later, because I didn't want to jinx it. If it was real, I didn't want to jinx it. And so I went in and I met the director and the engineer, director Jonathan Rigg and engineer Eric Benavides, who are both amazing people. And first thing I was like, oh, nice to meet you. I'm Jonathan Rigg, and you're gonna be I want you as the Great Jahy. And I just kind of sat like, really? Oh, seriously? It was a really cool and a wonderful like learning experience in general because I was so new and getting to work on a character that really like challenged me, like not only vocally but like for a characterization. And then having a long series, because nowadays every show is about 12 to 13 episodes, and we were the only ones that were of the summer season going on to the next season because we were 20 episodes. So it was really cool to have that experience where from episode 1 to episode 20 I can see and hear the differences that I've made as an actor, as a performer, and have hopefully been able to grow along the way. But oh my gosh, such a great experience. Love her so much, and I am ready in a year, 2, 3 years, I don't know, to do a season 2. I was like, I'm very much open to it. I'm sad that it is not as popular in America as it is in Japan. It didn't help that we were also competing with a lot of big shows at the same time, because especially near the second half, near the end of the series, Blue Lock came out, My Hero started going, Chainsaw Man started going. We're just like, okay, that's fine. We're still here. Hi. But it's really cool, not only like as an experience of getting to grow, like I've made so many connections and friends through it, and through that have also gotten cast in things. So a growing opportunity, a great career opportunity, and I just love the character in general. Like Jahy, I realized was basically me, like by episode maybe 2 or 3. And I love that I have it somewhere over here. That I love, right here, that people have been like finding little things, and so like finding little merch to give me and stuff. All my friends and family that have known me my entire life and know that this is something that I've been pursuing for a long time have been very like wonderful throughout the entire process, and like have been like, oh, congratulations. Like even though we're done with it, they'll like send me a clip, hey, I'm starting to watch your show. So it's just really cool to be a part of a series that, if you're into it, there's some really big fans of The Great Jahy, and then most people don't even know what it is. So it's really cool to be on the fence where we're an obscure show, but we're a good show. It's really funny. It's relatable. It's sometimes realism. Sometimes it's very much not. I mean, she's a magical girl that is a demon at the same time. My sister, when I told her about it, the general basis of what it was and explained who she was, she was just saying, I was like, that's such a perfect character for it to be your first lead character, because growing up, little shoujo magical girl anime were my favorite things, like Cardcaptor Sakura, Sailor Moon, all that good stuff were my favorite. But her being on the opposite spectrum and being more evil was more on my spectrum, my cup of tea. Like, that's way more like me than any sweet little magical girl than it would actually be. But again, another isekai, reverse isekai. A lot of people watching, which I didn't watch it. They compared it to Devil is a Part-Timer, which I've heard is really great. Even when it was coming out, I know they've had a season 2 since, like in the same year, which was not fair. Way to compete with us. But I've heard it's really great too, and a lot of people compared it to that. So I do need to watch that. And then there is also the idea too that since it was originally premiering in 2021 and the dub was so far behind that they didn't come out till this year, we also had to compete with that. So most people that were watching when it was first premiering last year. And yeah, we had a couple of those fans following along. And then as it continued to go, a lot of people weren't watching it anymore. They were watching other stuff by this point because they already watched it in Japanese. And so, like, there's all these different elements of having to compete in order to be, like, oh, one of the top shows. But at the end of the day, like, I had so much fun recording every single week. And I have so much fun getting to talk to the people I've met through that whole process. So we have our own little, like, what does she call it? Like, our Jahy squaddy, where it's me, Suzanne DeKarma, the voice of the landlord, and Monet Lerner, the voice of Drew's. Like, we hang out all the time and we just go talk, and we have food and drinks and stuff like that. And like, it's just really cool to now have the community because I got to be in the studio all the time and got to see people coming in and out and in and out. And now I get to be, at least for the newer talent coming in, I get to be a prominent figure because of all of us that have been, like, I've been taking lots of classes with a bunch of people since I moved back to Texas last year. And I'm the only one that's gotten a lead role. So it's all of a sudden I'm just like, I'm here. Hi, cast me in things. So, like, hopefully that means I get to do more things in the future.
I love the show. I got to watch the Japanese because, again, another show I did not think was going to get an English dub until they're like, okay, so there is a fandom for it. There is like an interest for it. And then what made it more special is it was like mostly a female cast of characters behind it. So you have a sense of camaraderie behind it, where we see Jahy in this different world that she used to, and her having to interact with all these different female characters, trying to help her out, trying to give her a bit of chaos in her life. So you have all these different elements coming together, having these funny moments, and then just seeing her reaction, how she goes by her daily life, no longer being her own world, but now being a human world, trying to go take each day at a time. So I think that what made it a bit more special, just seeing how she's gonna get through the next day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was a thing too. It's like trying to explain to people who don't really watch anime, like, what's the show about? Like, well, a girl who falls into a different world, you know, she's from the demon world, great. It's very slice of life, lots of craziness. Yeah, good luck. It's like, it's hard to put it into a single category because they have whoever the people that made it in general, like the full team, not even just the mangaka, like, put so many different elements in it that they touch on all the different things. Because you have the magical girls in there for all of our shoujo fans. There's a scene where she's fighting with a lightsaber for the nerds. She has the battle with the magical girl for our fun action fans. We have all the comedy. We have all of the, like, little innuendos of Nintendo that are totally not in there. We have the isekai aspect. Obviously, she's from a different world and she's working towards a goal. There's just, like, there's a tsundere, there's masks. Like, there's just so many different things. Like, you watch one episode after the next, like, okay, sure, it makes sense, I guess. And even while recording, I made sure because a lot of times, again, like you might watch the series so you know what you're going to come in to read for. I didn't, because I didn't want to have that already in my head. I wanted to come in and do my read very fresh. And so I would be watching the scene for the very first time while I was about to record it. And so it was really fun to watch the episodes while I was going through. But by like episode 3, like there was so much happening, and I'm like, I had no idea where the story was going. Like, I know the base level story, you know, she wants to go back to the dark realm and she has to find the monocrystals, but so much else is happening in her life. I don't know how we're going to get there. And then by like halfway through the season, she finds the magical girl, befriends the magical girl, and then finds the demon lord lady. And I'm sitting here like, so now what do we do? Like, there's a whole other half of the series when we almost accomplished everything already, or we already had all the main players. So now what are you gonna do? And then not only that, if you stick around for a certain section, you have all those random little insert clips at the end credit scenes, which were amazing. And they only had like 5 episodes of it. And I'm very upset because they were some of the best scenes in the entire series. But like, that was one thing too, is that it's a comedy. It's a reverse isekai. It's a slice of life. But there's so much more to it. And like by like episode 2, she already starts to get emotional about this super serious dramatics, and then it turns everything back into the serious, like, or to the comedy side of it. And then we go more comedy, and then she'll have like a random like moment of her realism of being grounded, bringing the audience back to the main story, and then we turn it back around to do comedy again. And so it was really fun way of getting to see and like watch an entire series reach its from beginning, middle, and end in a very, very not normal direction of getting there. Especially as an anime viewer and especially as a writer, like I had no idea what I was going to be going into every single session.
Overall, I think the show was just cute because you had Jahy in her little cute form. So just seeing her reaction, just seeing her reactions, you know, seeing her emotional struggles, you can't help but sympathize with her, trying to see if her day will get any better, if she will achieve her goals to get back to the world, and you know, get her out of her her struggle, her obstacle. So you kind of root for her, even though she's supposed to be the villain here. You sympathize with her because you think she probably already had punishment enough. Now it's time to, you know, let her back up because she learned her lesson. Right. And that's what makes it even more special.
Yeah, I think Rig was the first one who mentioned it to me, and like afterwards, like I can definitely see it as like a rewatch idea, where the main part of the story, you know, is the story, but the underlying theme was more of the idea of living in an adult world, but still being able to feed that inner child and kind of experiencing the world in her eyes, because this is new to her. That's like the whole idea, that she has the adult form and her child form, is that even though she's an adult, that because she's in a completely new world, new experiences, she is experiencing things and learning things as a child would for the very first time, and getting to have those fun moments and those learning moments. I know some people online were talking about how she's such a brat, and I'm like, absolutely she is, because she thought of, like, she was high and mighty in her original life, and now she's having to relearn everything again. And that's exactly how children are until you teach them, like, just simple things that she's having to learn through the eyes of humans. And not only that, like respecting the people around her and finding her own family and her own community, which again, the being relatable in the sense of, once you get to that point in your life where you are an adult and you're trying to find your own way, you want to be independent, but if you get to a certain point, you kind of need those people around you as well. You need your family and you need your friends to help you through the tough times, to be there for the happy moments as well. And that's something that she never really cared for, and she's starting to learn and really appreciate near the end, to the point where I know during our live stream, the girls were asking, like, well, she says that, oh, there's something I forgot at the very end, it ends the series. And I remember talking to Rig, it was the idea is that she forgot about her goal to restore the dark realm because she's so comfortable now in the human world. That's not important to her because she has everything she needs. She has her family and friends, she has her home, and she's happy. And like that's the whole thing. Like even though she's not rich or lives in this fancy mansion or gets to eat all the good food, like she's happy and content. And that's the more important part of her life than having everything she had in the past.
Yeah, again, another simple story, just something about wants and needs, and just learning, as people would like to say, adulting
Yeah.
in the world. So you've had
Yep.
all the elements together. So I think that made the show more special, really relatable, especially to female audiences who can maybe see the pieces of themselves inside Jahy. Just
Mm-hmm.
whether she be in her little bright moments, whether she be in her dark and gloom moments,
Yeah.
or when she finally pips up and gets into her happy, content moments. Again,
Mm-hmm.
being surrounded by good people, a supporting net of loving people who want to get her into the right steps in the adult world. So
Yeah.
so everything just comes together nicely in a very well told story. That's also a comedy story as well.
Yes. And yeah, oh my goodness. That was a thing too, like going into, again, not knowing anything about the show and going in every single episode for the first time seeing it, realizing very early on that she talks a lot and she screams a lot and she cries a lot. And throughout the process, I also had my, I guess you can say, my come to Jesus moment where like I realized that, again, so new to the industry, but like no, I am a professional working actor and I have to take care of myself, because there was a one point where I had to go on vocal rest because I was doing everything else on my other jobs. And then I went in to go scream for like 2 hours with Jahy, and I couldn't finish the last 2 hours because my voice was starting to get tired, and we could hear it in the scene. And so like he sent me home and I was so upset with myself. And so from that point forward, I was just like, if this is the job that I'm doing, it being so new to me, not really like, oh, I'm going to go do the session. It's fine. No big deal. I don't have to warm up fully. I don't have to like cool down. I don't have to do things to take care of my voice. Like, no, your voice is your whole instrument. And just having to remind myself that every single day, like even if I'm not doing a session or even interacting with people, really, I need to be taking care of my voice, and I have to be doing my warm-ups every morning. I have to be drinking my tea at night, because you never know when you're going to get called into the studio. You never know if you're going to have, like, even if you do get called into the studio, is it going to be a 10-minute session or is it going to be a 4-hour session? You don't know. So you always have to just be prepared, because if you ruin your voice and you have to take time off, you're not getting paid. If you ruin your voice and you have to get it taken care of, let's say the worst, and like for medical reasons, then not only are you not getting paid, you're having to pay extra bills, you're having to lose your instrument, and who knows, if you don't take care of it, if you're actually going to be able to come back from that. And that if that's your livelihood, if you're an actor, your voice and your body is your instrument. So you have to take care of it, because if you lose that, you don't have a career anymore. So that was definitely something, because I was like episode 13, 14 that happened, and I was like, never again, never again. And so I was like, every single time now I make sure I take care of myself. With younger actors, I'm always like, please take care of yourself, because that was the thing when I was working with Six Flags. Like most of my work kiddos were 15 to 20 years old, and we're all theater kids or wanting to also get in the industry, talking to me and like, please do this. Like, you don't understand. They, try to blow it off because they're kids. Like, no, please, if this is what you want to do, you need to take care of yourself. So it's like not only just a learning experience of being an actor, it's a learning experience of like life for me and like my world, because this is what I want to do. I want to be an actor. I want to be a voice actor. And there are certain steps that I have to do in order to achieve that. And then also like a very big learning experience of like the industry in general, getting to be there often with and getting to see things and ask questions and talk to people and like meet people and actually get to ask questions on like the writing aspect, the directing aspect, the engineering and all this good stuff, and getting to just be a part of that and getting more preparation for what I want to do in the future, which is not something that a lot of younger or newer talent gets to do. That like not everybody gets a lead role that brings them in every single week. A lot of people, when you're starting out, you're in every couple weeks, once a month, maybe doing a 30-minute Walla or an hour Walla session. You don't actually get that one-on-one time with people. You're usually with others, or you're in and out very quickly. So like I was very privileged to have that opportunity, to have this opportunity where I got thrown in and had to kind of like figure everything out, but then came out better for it on the other side of it too.
Just a lot of things you can learn, especially again with real human emotions and human storytelling, where everything comes in full circle. As with your story, just trying to take care of yourself, trying to take care of your body, everything just comes into play. Everything comes into factor once you understand your limits, your strengths, your weaknesses. Just like Jahy, where she is limited in certain realms, she's got certain strengths in certain realms. And so with you, just having the knowledge of trying to, keep yourself in check, trying to at least come back at your mindset. Okay, where do you go from here on out? So everything just works out well when you just think a little bit from getting to the next few steps that are ahead of you.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I have nothing else to say on that. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, great show, loving it. Be nice to get more Jahy. Just loving it.
In a few years, I'm crossing my fingers. Because I don't know. Do you read the manga?
I haven't. I should, just because of how well put together Jahy is as a character, and the story. Just again going back to her newfound camaraderie with the landlord, with her boss, with her old friend from the old world, the magic girl. Just everyone just coming together. Just at least having this just bring up Jahy, knowing how sad she can be, but knowing how happy she can be when she's around good-hearted people in her life. So there is that element of that slice of life, that sense of family, with friends that will help you get through the next day.
Yeah, I actually, after the last episode aired, I went and found book 9, because according to people, the anime follows pretty closely-ish to books 1 through 8. But during the summer, he released book 9 after being on a hiatus for a while. And so the manga is now continuing. And so there was the idea, a lot of people were thinking it was over, nothing's going to happen, and there's a good chance that it could be over. They buttoned it up very nicely. It's a very sweet ending. However, I did read book 9 online, and a lot happens, like story-wise, certain character-wise, certain relationships that she has built has huge leaps and bounds in just that one book. And then a lot of things, like main goal of returning the Dark Realm to its original glory, are starting to happen. And so I remember talking to some of the others, like, it's possible that they won't do anything. However, fortunately, it was very popular in America, or not America, in Japan. It was very popular that it could have a season 2 in a few years, once they have more manga coming out. Because it was really weird. I found every anime nowadays has like a little website. In Japan, they always make a little thing. The Great Jahy has a little website where they talk about the characters, and then they have like cute little like intro clips that was leading up to the anime, and they had what's it called, a little video game thing on it as well, and then they had a what they're called mascot characters, like a full body costume character of the great Jahy. And it was the weirdest thing, but like also like really cool for Jahy to have that, when like in America it's not as popular, but weirdly enough it's super popular in Japan. And it was really cute because Jahy was the costumes character. Jahy was with her voice actress, and they were doing Jahy life hacks. And we all know how great Jahy is at living life. And so she was teaching them how to like make stir fry or something like that. It was like really dumb things. But the fact that it is so popular in Japan, that there is a really good possibility that in a couple years they have a season 2, because like you said earlier, like so many shows are just, yeah, why not make a season 2? No big deal. I'd be very welcome to the idea of getting to reprise my character. If they wanted to have me back, I will gladly do that. But like, just because, again, being a fan, not only because I was Jahy, as a fan of anime, I love watching shows. I love reading books. I love, in general, binge watching TV shows, whether it's American or Japanese, whatever. And as a fan of the show, the fact that there is so much more that is coming, I want to see it come to an end. Like, I want an actual end for Jahy and everybody, just to see where it's going. And there's so much comedy that I know can still happen. So please, Wakame Combo, bring me more.
That was a ton of fun on Jahy, and yeah, we'll see what happens in the coming years. So we'll wait and see what happens with the manga and everything else.
Yeah.
So another transition. Now it's time for the funny question I like to ask everyone. If you could be any character you have played in real life, who you be, and you can mix and match.
Well, the easy answer, only because I've connected with her more, would be Jahy. But I do think that's an easy answer too, because so many of her tendencies are already me. But in Smell of the Arsnotoria, Yetzi Sepper is just a cute magical girl who gets to go to school. And I feel like that would definitely be a better choice. And I get to just be at a magical school and have fun and wacky adventures every single day. So although I love Jahy, I think I would have to go with Arsnotoria, because I think it's the simple story, the simple life. I have no problems. I just get to learn magic every single day and have like fun little snack tea parties, as you said.
You know, you saying that just gave me this weird thought process. What if Jahy went to magical school? I just thought about that.
If Jahy was in magic school, she would try to take over the entire magic school. Fail, but she would try to take it over. Absolutely. And she would try, like, she would, you know, it is magic school. She does have magic, and she has the monocrystals with her. She's just not that good at it. And she would not have manners at all. She'd be a very bad student. Like, I remember, because especially they have all those little like end credit scenes, and me and the director, Jonathan Rigg, would always go off and like, what if there was a little end credit of like Jahy trying to wear pants, Jahy goes to school, Jahy learns how to use the phone. And so all these different things that I wish we could have explored, just had fun little stories about, like, Jahy goes to school, Jahy goes to magic school. I don't think she'd be a very good student. Like, she falls asleep. She would most likely be that kid that's very much like Ron Weasley in Harry Potter, where he's a very mediocre student, falls asleep, gets in trouble all the time because she's yelling, and then just eats everybody's food. Yeah. It would be me in Smell of the Arsnotoria. The end.
I just about make those kind of crossovers. Like, that would be even more interesting, just to see the chemistry and the reaction towards it.
That'd be really crazy.
Well, that was fun just to talk about that. So another question: is there anything else coming out that you can talk about, or anything out right now that you want to plug in at this time?
Nothing really out that I can talk about. Other things that I've been in is technically I've been in Chainsaw Man, Blue Lock, and One Piece, and was like, go watch those shows because they're really good. And all of those I've only done bit parts, but they're really good shows. So please go watch them. They're amazing. Huge fan of Blue Lock. I'm big into sports anime, so even though I was at the very beginning screaming fangirl, living my best life, but like I'm watching that show every single week and the cast is amazing, so please go support them. um Plugging wise, if you want to see anybody at conventions, please reach out to the conventions. I know Suzanne de Karma and Monet Lerner and I have talked about it multiple times that we would love to go to a con and do like a great Jahy panel. Again, I've been going to conventions since I was a kid. So I would love to go. We've already talked about doing cosplay for our characters and getting to meet people because people have been asking on like Twitter about us doing autograph sessions and doing this and everything. I was like, you have to ask the conventions. It's like you have to be the ones to do it. So if anybody wants to see me or any of the cast for the Great Jahy, they're all really great people. We'd be more than happy to go and visit y'all, but you gotta let your local conventions know. Yeah. Nothing I could actually talk about coming up in the new year. I'm really looking forward to the next season though, because like the first question was talking about the industry in general, is like really noticing the trends. And this whole fall season, most of the things coming out have been very male dominant. So it has been very lacking for a lot of my friends and female talent. So in the next couple seasons, it's coming more even. And then spring season is very much female dominant. So we're all just like, we're going to go and we're going to be in all the things. It's okay, guys. We're going to get cast in all the shows.
All right, a lot of things to look forward to, and hopefully we'll see what 2023 looks like for both the industry and for the con scenes. So yeah, a lot of things, a lot of potential out there.
I'm so excited. I love conventions. I'm so excited. Please invite me.
And then for our last question for our viewers watching this interview, is there any Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Hive, or any other social media for fans to reach you out at?
Absolutely. I'm on all the things. I'm more active on Twitter and Instagram than anything. I'm obsessed with taking photos. So Instagram and Twitter would be where you can contact me. I talk to people. I respond back the best I can because I'm really bad at that in general. But to find me would just be searching my name, Lisette Monique Diaz. Even though that's not my full Twitter handle, you'll find me through there. And even then I like not only on Instagram, I post a lot more like my life stuff. So, it's more of keeping up with fun, hanging out kind of sort of thing. On Twitter, like it's a lot of that as well as like anime news. So anything happening, whether it's my announcements or other people's announcements or show announcements, industry announcements, Twitter would definitely be where you would see that first and foremost.
All right. Well, that's all the questions we have. Thank you, Lisette, for coming in for this interview. I appreciate getting this time to talk to you about all these amazing shows you got to work on.
Yay! It was fun. I love talking to people, and I love listening to people. So I love listening to your parts of it too. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I was great to have you on. And I also want to take this time to thank our viewers here for tuning in for this episode of the Ohio Guys. Thank you all who tuned in, and I hope to see you all next time. And thank you, Lisette, and I hope to see you again soon. Yay! So have a good one. So
thank
bye
you.
Now, Lisette.
Bye, guys.